Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Yeah, quite a surprise, but what better way to end the week with an award like this?
What does it mean for you?
Well, I mean, it's hard to put that into words, really. I was grateful to receive an invitation tonight without any knowledge that something more than a nice meal and some great company might be what I'm receiving. So anyway, as I said, earlier when I received the award, for me, this is not about my contribution, if you like. This is about the team that I work with who really care deeply about sustainability, can care about charity, care about the local community, and it's through their efforts, them giving up time, being part of something that really, I feel that without their efforts and their drive to make this happen, we wouldn't be picking this award up. So
Can you tell us a little bit about the work?
Yeah, so it started in COVID, really, when we probably all had a chance to press pause for a moment, voluntary or otherwise, and decided that we could do more to work with the homeless, who were clearly the most vulnerable at that time. And given that people didn't have to go to their day jobs, and I run a private members club and hotel, we were able to use our facilities to provide 700 meals a day for people in the local area that had no means to feed themselves. That then led to an initiative within the business to say, well, actually, what else can we do? And as we sort of emerged from COVID, we got involved with a number of other charities to really work out how we could support, whether it was ethnic groups, underprivileged children, women, domestic abuse victims, a whole raft of good causes, and it was down to the team that I work with wanting to be part of something positive, rather than it was me suggesting that we ought to be doing this, and I was merely the facilitator. So I collect this, as I say, on behalf of really 1,000 people, although half of those employees are women, which I think makes it even more appropriate on a night like tonight.
And yes, you're right, we're here, Houses of Parliament, International Women's Day, all these amazing women and incredible men who are our heroes as well. What's the significance of this moment in time and this increased frequency of the feminine, and as well as consciousness, in terms of how you're describing your team responding to the COVID challenge?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question, and I think there's never been a brighter light, never been a greater spotlight shone on women empowerment. And as someone who is the father to 2 young daughters, I actually probably took for granted certain things that today really resonate with me, and I'm so excited that we're sort of, whether it's the crest of the wave or whether the wave is only just starting to build, I think it's probably the latter. But I'm so excited to be around at a time when women are going to be blazing an even bigger trail in the future, and my daughters have every chance of doing things that perhaps once upon a time, my mother or my grandmother may not have had the same opportunity. So it's for me, it's just a brilliant moment, and I'm grateful to be here and to be surrounded by all this opportunity and these great people.
Amazing. And how old are your girls, and what do you tell them? What's your big wish for them or message for them?
So they're 8 and 10, and we have a little mantra in the house, actually, which is work hard, be kind, and dream big. And there are many lessons that you can, as a parent, sort of share and instill in your children, but you don't want to bore them, and you want them to try and remember it. And I've always adopted the view that keep it short and simple, and there's a chance it will go in and stay in. And that's, they're bright young girls with lots of energy, but there's also lots of other things they're interested in. And if you were to meet them in the street and you said to them, what's the secret to life? I promise you they would say it's work hard, be kind, dream big. And I think if that's all they ever learn from me, I think that's not a bad lesson.
Wow, I think we have something to learn, because we have 3 sons around about that same age. So maybe I'm Indian, so we can chat in 20 years' time. But maybe we overcomplicate things. I love those 3 mantras.
It's easy to do that, isn't it? And actually, if you listen to some of the other recipients of awards this evening, their message is actually relatively simple. And I think, there is something about that we sometimes overlook, in a world where it's all about, complicated solutions to problems and challenges that we face. And actually the principles of great humanity are often a lot more simple than we sometimes make them out to be.
What does it mean for men in this power where the woman's voice is being expressed and she's finally learning who she is and what she's capable of? So what's the role of men in this new era? Because some men are feeling, I think, a bit unempowered, or they're fed up of the boxes they've been put in. What's your view?
Well, I think there's two ways you look at that. It's either raise your game, there's someone snapping at your heels, that's one way of looking at it, or step aside and don't assume that, you know, you've got an entitlement to, you know, a sort of a nicely cleared path, you know, and actually make sure that you are supporting, you know, the best possible outcome, whether that might be, you know, say, stepping aside for somebody else who might do a job better than you, giving somebody an opportunity that, you know, you can help facilitate. I think there's lots of ways to look at that, but right now, as I say, I think it's a time of real change, and as a man who runs a not insignificant sized business.
By the way, tell us about your business. You haven't mentioned what it is.
So I run a private members club and hotel, collection of restaurants here in London. We've recently expanded. We're in North America now, we're in New York, and we're in the Middle East as well.
Are you going to tell us the name of it?
Yeah, it's called The Ned. So it's based just down the road at Bank Junction there, in the heart of the City of London, a district of London in itself, which is going through a lot of change right now. It's no longer.
I'm curious with The Ned. I mean, it's a very established brand. Has the intent for that community changed a bit from everything that you're talking about, and also this feminine spirit?
Yeah, so I think there was a time when it was the home of bankers and lawyers and not much else. Today it's a much more diverse community that exists in that area, and I think there's lots of reasons for that. But it's becoming richer by the day. We as a business, you know, welcome everybody that wants to walk through our doors, but particularly where we have control over things like our members club and who we accept as members, we work hard to ensure that there is equality in our membership around women, men, young and old, a broad mix of industries, rather than it being in any way traditional, in the sense that it is a sort of home for the sort of the industries that perhaps are most associated with that part of London. So it's a really exciting time to sort of try and shape, you know, what the modern members club looks like, if that makes sense.
And in this era of digital, where Web3, metaverse, even Zoom calls, and everyone's kind of, I don't know, maybe, well, let's just say, excitement in the digital world, what role does that physical space still have in bringing communities together for creativity and for a new paradigm moving forward?
Well, I think it's actually, I think whilst Zoom has been an amazing technology and the ability to exist online has undoubtedly solved a number of problems, I think the reality is that being in person, there is little substitute for it. And we create environments where people can have social experiences and social occasions, as much as it's a professional environment where people can have networking and other business meetings. And I think what is becoming very clear is that the frequency may not be quite as it was, but the quality of those in-person interactions has never been more valued and has never been greater. So there is an absolute world where the online and the in-person can coexist, and they can both achieve slightly different objectives. But the day that people say, I don't want to meet up with colleagues in person, I don't want to see friends in person, I'm happy to do it all over Zoom, or I'm happy to do it virtually, I think there's an awful long way away, and I don't think it'll ever be replaced. I think there's a specific quality about being with your loved ones, being with people who you simply cannot build the same rapport or develop a culture, organisational culture, when it's virtual. So I think we're a long time before we're dead.
Brilliant, exciting. And if there's a final message that you want to give to women on International Women's Day from the House of Parliament, what would it be?
Keep doing what you're doing. Amazing progress in the last decade or two. I think this is just merely the start, and I wish you every success, and I hope I can be part of the journey that helps you get to greater things in the future.